All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if, for these two Google searches, if BSS is present. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. For fallen, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So, BSS, focusing here on this, this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers, searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. And that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, it's also as boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, competing more for page 1 dominance. Or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically, they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, you got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website, so maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Boudoir photographer with BSS, Boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, so on page 2 or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, SQ'd methodology. We know this is a solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days, Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1 or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us at higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the SQ'd methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution we can use? SQ'd methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ SQ'd methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. 80% of them, approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once you're with SQ'd methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. So, but we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. We, 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, we're kicking 2 competitors off, or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link. And very rarely will there be someone else with 2 links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, the false belief of page 1 equality. And we utilize SQ'd methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS Boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. But we got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And so now we're going to check if this boudoir photography business, well, you saw in my picture, I definitely don't have BSS, boudoir search sameness. So we'll see if this boudoir photography business has boudoir search sameness for these two searches. We got a local search, then we got kind of the larger city search. So first one, we got West Pasco, Washington. And let's see. So, all right, we got one. Boom. We got two. All right, so we do not have BSS. Nice. I wonder if Boudoir by Rebecca is the same one. I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. You're in Pasco, Washington. So we got three. All right, dude, we're hit perfect. This is exactly what I want to see. I want to see at least the GBC minimum. So we do not have BSS for this Google search. Now we'll check. Now we'll check kind of for the larger city area. So go down to the organic. So larger city area, Tri-Cities, Washington. So we got one. Two, right there, the threads. Three, couples boudoir. Okay, that's fine. It's got boudoir in it, so we got three. Hey, this is actually perfect. So we do not have BSS, and actually for local and city, they met the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So hey, dude, that's perfect. So we can confidently say they're probably not a disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, they don't meet it categorically because they don't have BSS, but probably not disappearing. They're most likely treading water or growing. So I got the the 3 out of 10. So it's perfect. This is what we want to shoot for. And then for those that want to keep growing the momentum, take more page one search slots, as many as possible. So if you're a boudoir photographer, a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means you've done local search for the highest intent keywords in your local area that boudoir buyers will be searching, and you've done the highest intent keywords for your city or closest city for highest intent keywords boudoir buyers will be buying, and you either have BSS for one or both, boudoir search sameness, or you do not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google for either one or both. And you're seeing, you're liking the initial benefits of S cubed methodology, you decide this is the one path, the one solution forward for you. If you want more slots page one on Google, and you definitely want to catch your competitors page one on Google, kick them to page two, where now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page two. So the bulk of the market will never even find your competitors through organic search. And, you want to use S cubed methodology because now you understand that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually wants to give as many page one slots as possible to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And now we realize we got a methodology, a solution to take them with S cubed methodology. And you understand the market saturation, new phone, new gear, bringing new boudoir photographers in. But you also are looking ahead and you're seeing that, hey, you actually need to fortify your business, and you decide you're going to fortify your business against the future boudoir photographers that come in, not only from the new iPhone and the new camera, but also the much larger share. The larger share is actually going to be more people losing their jobs to AI, and they still got to earn money, they still got to pay their expenses, and everyone's got a great camera attached to their iPhone already. So it's going to be way more boudoir photographers coming into the market because of AI, and you actually want to give yourself, fortification in preparation of those boudoir photographers coming into the market, kind of like the levees in New Orleans. They build up the sandbag levees because New Orleans is actually below sea level. So you actually want to build up that fortification in preparation for the future boudoir photographers entering the market, which is going to be more and more over time. So you already decided you're going to prepare for that, and you realized, hey, paying for Facebook ads ain't doing that. That's on Facebook. Paying for Google ads ain't doing that because that's only one slot on Google. The only option that gives you multiple slots um, is SQ'd methodology for boudoir photographers. And so you realize you need this solution. You want the initial benefits. You want the pre-fortification benefits because you need to achieve page one visibility to become a visible boudoir photographer and have boudoir search visibility because you need those things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the back-end benefits as well, which we've not talked about yet, but you actually understand already, which is every day we execute SQ'd methodology correctly, we are actually increasing and building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, or spokes, hub and spoke. It's attached into our business name, our brand name, our social accounts. And what this is building up massive momentum and mind share in the back end of these AI systems. So every day we successfully execute SQ'd methodology together, we're actually increasing the probability you get recommended here. AI overview, premium placement, the one top slot for a search in your city for a boudoir photographer, as well as increasing the probability that regular AI searches actually give you, actually feature you as well, as be ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Standard Google search still about 90% of searches globally, but dude, AI search is growing every day. I haven't done normal Google search probably in like a year to actually read and learn stuff from a website. I just do the AI mode on Google. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer was in I remember it gave me 3 options, but I actually went on my own and looked like Google standard search, and there were about 60 options. So dude, AI search can be more and more. SQ'd methodology gives us higher chances showing up AI overview at the top and all AI search. And you also recognize the final kind of extra benefit of using SQ'd methodology since you've decided to be the first mover in your city, you can make all this progress, build up all these initial benefits and the momentum for the future benefits, kind of the invisible AI mindshare for your business ahead of all your competitors, because right now my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city on this. And so as a result, you actually, every day we successfully execute SQ'd methodology together. We are building up, got initial benefits initially happening very fast, and kind of the long-term benefits, the invisible benefits for AI overview recommendation, AI search recommendation. Every day we're putting a bigger and bigger gap between your current competitors and the future competitors coming from AI stealing people's jobs and people becoming boudoir photographers because they need to earn money. We're building up this momentum where basically no one, when we execute on this, no one's going to be able to catch up to us. Because conversely, if someone else in your city went with me first, you would have to rederive or derive for the first time the correct way to do SQ'd methodology, and you would never actually be confident you've derived the correct way to do it. Never be 100% confident, and then you'd have to go equal our execution with me and your competitor. But we've already been doing it long before you, so we've already built up a massive gap between them and you with all the initial benefits and the future benefits, momentum with AI mindshare. So you'd have to then execute the same amount of us every day. And then if you did that, you'd simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor have already made of us being ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our execution to pull that AI mindshare, those invisible thematic keyword columns away from the competitor's brand, competitor's name in your same city for the AI mindshare in the back end. Pull that back towards yourself. And dude, who's got time for that? I mean, how are you gonna outcompete the person that invented SQ'd methodology, me? So you decide, screw that. You decide, okay, you're gonna be the first mover because you want to be the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. The hospital is not currently open for new patients. When I do open up for new patients, I watch these videos. I'll put out a notice, and yeah, shoot a DM then, and we'll see if you qualify for using SQ'd methodology.